We want to remind you of how you do geocoding inside ArcMap, but you'll see the feature is very similar when we do it with a Python script. So what I've already loaded in here was counties of Kentucky, just to give us a background so that we know where these dots actually lie. And I've loaded a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet contains addresses, but does not contain an XY location, so we don't see any of these doctors from this file showing up on my map because they don't have an address. They have an address, but they don't have an XY location. I've chosen my own geocoder to use called Street Addresses US. We could geocode a single address by typing it straight in here, but we want to batch geocode. So we're going to open up the little mailbox symbol and tell it what geocoder we're using and say OK, and it opens up the following window. It knows, since we only have one file that contains just street addresses called doctors, it knows that's where our information is going to be coming from, so we're good there. We're going to do multiple fields, and we're doing this comparison. It's looking for something named street or intersection, but in our data, it's called address _1. So we're saying street and address number 1 are both the same thing. City or place name, ours is called city, so we're good there. State and state, they're looking for zip codes, and ours is called zip. And of course, we have to have a location for our output file, which is just going to be the default location for this example. You'll see when we do the Python code that we have to do this one-to-one comparison, street name to the field name, city name to the city field name, and so on and so forth. So once we do this and have everything aligned like we want, we just say OK, and it will start geocoding for us. It usually takes a few moments, and even in a Python script, it takes a few moments for this to happen, but this is a fairly long process. If you have forgotten how geocoding works and what's being done in geocoding, you can go back and review our introductory class, which has a geocoding module in it. Okay, you can see it doing the geocoding process. 925 records at this point have been matched, 7 have ties, and 82 it did not know how to match it. Now, of course, you can manually come back in and fix your geocoding. Likewise, when you run your Python script, you'll be able to come back in and fix it that way. Notice the average speed showing up here. You won't see that in your Python script, what your average speed is. And it's not uncommon to see it do a chunk of records and then pause for a moment and then do another chunk of records. We're also doing a large number of records with this geocoding. It's not like it's just doing 100 records or 200 records, but we're doing several thousand records. As you can see, we've already matched over 3,000 records. And at a pretty good rate. Well, it was 91%. Now you just saw it drop to 83%. So somehow the records that just tried to match, it did not have as good a luck at matching them as some of the others that we looked at. Even though it seems slow to us, it's still showing that it's going to match over 102,000 records in an hour, which is relatively quick if you think about it, but it does seem slow when you're just sitting and waiting for it to finish its process. Likewise, again, you're going to see some of this type of issue when you do your geocoding, doing your Python script. So as I said, we could rematch, but that's not the purpose of this little video. This video is just to remind you what geocoding is. So I'm going to just say close. And you can see the dots starting to populate the map. And so you can see where all these records have been geocoded. There's concentrations of dots like in Jefferson County, northern Kentucky. There are some outside the state boundaries too. This is Fayette County down here. So you can see that it's done a reasonable geocoding. So that's just to remind you about how geocoding functions. Again, if you need more information, go back to the introductory module on geocoding.